Coming up in today's episode of Inspire to Inspire.
There is an element, a huge element of anxiety that we go through when we are facing fear. And a lot of that fear comes from our self-limiting beliefs. I always say life is a roller coaster, and I don't mean the song. We're on a roller coaster. We've got our ups, we've got our downs, but I think we need to put the adventure back, knowing that we all following our path. And I decided to base the leap of faith in terms of where I saw I could help, irrespective of age or gender or culture. I believe we are all, as human beings, made to deal with change. It's just that because we're doing every change or similar changes for the very first time, that we start feeling overwhelmed.
Mr. M. Dongo.
Mr. Dongo.
Wonderful time working with Mr. G.
Mr. M. Dongo, and he is a 10x person.
I love your energy.
He just go like boom, 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 boom. It's amazing.
I always love the way this man carries himself with dignity and respect.
Hey there, this is your guy again, Mr. M. Dongo, and I'm so excited that you choose to join us today. Guess what? Some years back, you might actually know that I follow Robin Banks, and Robin Banks is the one who really kickstarted my life because of the conference that I attended in Belmont Square. Well, the story that it doesn't end there. The story actually goes again in 2020 when I was hosting an event with one of my dear friends, and we had one of the speakers, and whose name was Carol Cook. No, well, it was actually Carol Potgieter that time. And we actually met online, and after that we started talking, and then I told her what I do. She became my client, and only then I know that I actually had a friend. But then this is not the main story that I wanted to tell you guys. I was hosting an event. Then she was one of the speakers at that event. And then for some other reason, I have no idea. This was our first time to actually meet in person. Then I walked past, but then I saw her, and I was going there, hi, Carol, and she's like, hi, can you please help me look for Mr. Dongo? If he's here, please tell him to come to me. Then I'm like, okay, lady, I don't know who you are. I don't know, whatever, but this is Mr. Dongo. She was like, hi.
You remember that?
She's like, hi. And I was like, my goodness, I don't know what's happening here. Is she not recognizing me or what? And she said, you're just a baby. I'm like, what do you mean? This is the Mr. D that you have been dealing with for a long time. And the rest is history. But then after that event, she then came back and be like, now I see why you are called Mr. D.
Yeah.
Please help me welcome my dear friend, Carol Cook. She is a business coach. She is a human potential coach, and she is a speaker and about to be an author. My goodness, you're gonna enjoy the ride. My friend, Carol, how are you, my dear?
Hello, Mr. D, Mr. Dongo. I can't believe you've taken me back to 2020. Yes, when I met you, you looked like a little baby. And I remember saying, why are you so small? Because you didn't look
so tiny. Yeah,
I was like,
I remember you said, I can't remember, what was that you or somebody who said, why are you so tiny? Do you eat? Do they feed you?
Isn't that amazing how sometimes, we have these perceptions of what people should look like. And remember, at that stage, everything was happening online. So we
Yes.
only got to see this part.
This part.
And yes, and yeah, I thought, he's got the muscles. Yeah, I'm going to have to wear extra high heels. And then I'll end up looking down at you. It was one of those moments I will treasure forever because we just
I would,
connected there.
I would treasure that every time, but really, yeah, well, we've done a lot of things online or whatever.
Fine.
So, Carol, before we actually get carried away, all right, can you please tell me who is Carol in a nutshell?
You always ask me to do that in a nutshell. And you know what?
Yes, in a nutshell.
I am a female that loves to talk and gets paid to talk. So nutshell is not in my vocabularies. Let me try. Focus. What did Mr. D teach me? Focus. I help individuals and teams to really turn anxiety into clarity. And specifically when it comes to things like presentation skills, when it comes to leadership, when it comes to change, because there is a huge element of anxiety that we go through when we are facing fear. And a lot of that fear comes from our self-limiting beliefs or aces up your sleeve, that I like to call them. And it's my job to help people to get through this fear and get onto their clear path. So I love it when people come to me and they say, I can't do this. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I told you I'm not the right person. And I just say, I got you. Because that's where my passion lies, is to turn that anxiety and that feeling of overwhelmness for whatever it is into that path of clarity. And I also focus on and really have a passion for young entrepreneurs. The question that's often asked is, where do I start? And being an entrepreneur, business owner for many, many years, I love to give back in terms of what I had to go through and realize where we should be starting. So I look at that, and then I also look at relationships, because adulthood is hard. That is
There was
a
no
little
a
bit.
manual book. There was no a manual book of how to be an adult.
No. And you know what? A friend of mine often said, well, her daughter said to her, Mom, we're all just going through life for the very first time. And I think that's so profound. And I often find that adults they're feeling stuck where they're at in their relationships, whether it's business, whether it's with themselves, or whether it's personal. So that's a nutshell for me.
That I love some of the look at you dropping bombs right at the beginning. I love that. Like we are going through life all together for the first time. I always also tell people that, you know what, like, so especially those people who want to be coaches, I'll be like, you know what, I'm not perfect. I'm not the guru at what I do. I am just a little bit either one step ahead of you, or I remember most of the time when I'm actually coaching you, Carol, I don't know how many times have I said, that's an interesting question, but can I please go research, try it, and then I'll come and tell you that, right? So I always do that. Why? Because we are also going through this business life for the first time.
Good stuff.
Every day
So
is different. Every day is
yeah.
so different. I love that. So, hey, guys, don't stop being pros at everything, okay? Stop being a pro. Be okay with being a learner, because we are all learning on this. We are learning on the job. I just need to be just one step ahead of you or somewhere, but we are all learning on this thing called life together. I love that.
Absolutely. And it's really, Mr. Dongo, you know me, I always say life is a roller coaster. And I don't mean the song.
Yeah.
Yes, we're on a roller coaster. We've got our ups, we've got our downs, but I think we need to put the adventure back, knowing that we all following our path. We are making mistakes along the way, and you know what? That could be such great learning steps. Tara, you know how many mistakes I've made in the past. But now I'm at an age where I can give back and I can say, be careful of those potholes along that journey. The other thing I've also just not just realized, but what I've reflected on quite a lot lately is that we are actually made to deal with change and anxiety from a young age, the birth process. I don't want to go all the way back there, but yeah, let's start there. I mean, that could be anxiety for a lot of people, moms and families and individuals. But, you go through your stages, and then you get to a stage where you have to go to school and you're in grade 1 and you think you're the bee's knees, but you're actually the lowest level. Where at home, when, you were growing up, you were cheeky, okay, no, maybe it's just me that was cheeky. But just fast forward. Our whole life is about advancement. You go through primary school, you get to the top, you zero again, high school, you go back and you from zero to zero. And if you look at that path, I do believe that we are made to manage change and anxiety. We don't always know how. And that's where people like you and I, like you say, if we can just be a step or two ahead of the people that we are helping and guiding them through that process, then that is our job.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
Wow.
and part of just reflecting back on this whole roller coaster of life from zero to zero, it's also a case of we don't get to a stage when we're 18 years old and suddenly we say, nah, I don't want to do this almost adulthood anymore. I'm just going to go back to being the person that just crawled, or I'm not going to step into the future. We don't, but it's the fear that sometimes holds us back to explore, to see this journey as an adventure for the very first time. And being a student of life, you know me, in all my training and my coaching, it's not about me doing the talking. It's not about me guiding. It's about we in this together. And like you said, Mr. Dongo, and I learned that from you as well, we are learning together. And the questions sometimes throw you because you realize, well, maybe I've never dealt with that.
Yeah.
So it is a constant process of just learning, being excited.
Yeah.
But yes, our fears are the stepping stones that we need to overcome.
Wow. And going back to 1996, when you started this business as the dinosaur, but anyway, we will address the dinosaur later on. But how big of a change was it? Because you were and are still white. Well, before we jump here, I was like, is there any limit? You're like, no, let's go for it with everything. So you were and still are white. 1996, South African environment was not that conducive because maybe they'd just gotten the independence, which was good, but you were tapping into business world as a white lady, as a lady, 96.
Yeah.
Black people are still looking at white people as, I don't know. Yeah,
True.
well, Mandela is out. Mandela freed the country, whatever. That is one other thing. How big of a change and challenging was it for you to dive into business? Because I believe that in 1996, having women in business was not a common thing, even especially in Africa.
True.
Yeah. So how big of a challenge or big of a shift was it actually? And what motivated you to kickstart that?
Wow, you're taking me back to those memories. And yes, I'm glad that you asked that. It was a huge challenge. It was a huge risk that I took. Being in my is, as you said, white female, trying to also just cope with what was happening in the country, politics. And I think that's why when I decided that I want to start my business at that time, because I felt I was ready, a lot of people questioned. And do you know, a lot of people doubted because they were saying it's the wrong time. They were saying to me, who's going to listen to you? You are young. What do you know about life? So those questions and concerns were a lot that came from my, let's call, fellow white people. And they were worried. So that put me into a spiral of anxiety of, well, if people that I thought would be okay for me to take this leap of faith, if they are questioning, what about the other cultures in South Africa? And I decided to base the leap of faith in terms of where I saw I could help, irrespective of age or gender or culture. So my mindset, I think, was correct. The second thing I realized is that a lot of people, if I say the white people, were trying to be too nice in this time of change, almost like we are now forced into this new democracy, and they were being too nice. And I was getting feedback from people of color saying that, don't be false, just be yourself. They were hating it when people were trying to be nice and try and make up for past things that happened, which basically was out of our control. If I think back, I grew up in a very turbulent home. But there was one thing that my mom and dad always made sure that we were aware of, and that was that each person is an individual, irrespective of what you look like, irrespective of the color of your skin, irrespective of your education level. And I really look back, and that is the huge thank you that I have said to my parents in the past, is that thank you for instilling that in us. I used to be an athlete, and yes, we competed white schools against white schools. And I remember this one time we rocked up and it was cross country, and there were some kids, black kids, and everybody was going, look what's going on. Why are they here? They, as if they come from a different planet, really. And you could pick up what were the talks in that household. But the story I want to tell is that my dad came to me and he said to me, remember, those athletes are just like you, trying to carve their way to win a race, to make name for themselves. And it's those kind of moments that I think kept coming back when I started my business in a very weird political time in South Africa. So just to recap, I'm glad for the way I was brought up. We were individuals. In fact, I had a doll that was white and was given to me as a Christmas gift from my parents. It was called a Cupid doll. Now, for those who remember, it was like the in thing, and they were expensive, and they were made like rubber, and they had a little plastic little piece of hair. And I couldn't understand why my sister and I had white dolls. So I decided to take black shoe polish my doll, and I had what it came out a little bit of a browny, horrible color, but I had a doll of color, and it was accepted. It was accepted in our household. And I think from a young age, I realized that, what diversity is what interests me. So yes, it was challenging, but I think my upbringing in terms of mindset about individuals was correct. And my focus and mindset was, I want to help anybody who needs help. I want to grow with anybody who needs growth.
Yeah.
We're in this together. I'm not better than anybody else.
Yeah.
The resistance I got was mostly from when I had to present to a group of people, and majority of them were black males at that stage, working on plantations, because that's where I first started, and I was reaching out. And a lot of gentlemen that were older than me, he's 50s, and here comes this young white lady with a little briefcase, like thinking she's the bee's knees. And the resistance I felt from, who are you? What are you going to tell us? And what I learned from that very quickly was to change the mindset. And the way I did it was to say, how many teachers do you know are female? No. At that stage, a lot of women teachers. And how many of those teachers are white? And at that stage, a lot of white teachers were around that were making a difference. And that was my saving grace. And I said, well, see me as just a different teacher. Yes, I've got a background in terms of what I can share with you, but you all got a background that I can learn from. And it was amazing, how quickly the whole culture thing and being a female, white female, young, just sort of like disappeared. So I used to use that as my icebreaker, and that's what helped me. And in the end, I had people like saying, wow, we love the fact that you came in here and you were humble. And that's something I will treasure.
Everybody is looking for that secret formula to boost their business. Guess what? We have it. Welcome to the Kickstart Coaching Program. Join the Kickstart Coaching Program now and unlock your business potential. Ready to make a change? Let's do this together. Sign up today at kickstartcoaching.com. Your future is waiting. Don't keep it waiting any longer.
So, I just want to talk about change, okay? Before 1994, whatever conflicts, apartheid, don't know, whatever,
Yeah.
all those other things, and you got the independence. You then came to the 2000s, like from 19, I guess from 2000, it was a different planet. It was like a completely different planet. Things were
True.
changing. Technology is now starting to come, and people, they are becoming a little bit civilized. Those who didn't have radios, they now have radios. Those who didn't have TVs, they now have access to that. Then you come to the year 2002, recession globally. Then things happen. Then you come to like, Carol, you lived it all. You lived
Yes,
it all. How
I did, but I learned.
Yes. So question, how important is it to learn flexibility and learn to adapt? Because you also had a lot of life changes as well, personally, that we're also gonna go into. So, but the change of the, like, this is a forced change. You can't do anything other than adapt. Same is COVID, right? You can't do anything apart from just adapt. How important is change? Like the book "Who Moved My Cheese," yeah. So how important is chasing this cheese wherever it is going? Because you remember, you are still a woman after all, an African woman. In Africa, be it you are white, Indian, colored, black, I don't know how, but that continent instilled in us some values that you can't find anywhere else. So you are white, you are a woman, you are a businesswoman who is trying to adapt in all these things in this environment that is changing, ever changing every day. How important was adapting and enjoying change? How important was that for you?
Wow. I don't think enjoying the change is something I would mention. In hindsight, yeah, now I'm enjoying the fact that it's changed. But you're right, Mr. Dongo, is that, our country has been through a lot. South Africa's been through a lot. But I want to go back to what I said earlier on, is that I believe we are all, as human beings, made to deal with change. It's just that because we're doing every change or similar changes for the very first time, that we start feeling overwhelmed. I realized that starting to feel overwhelmed and then ask the what if questions. What if this? What if that? What if I lose here? What if I can't make my business work? What if people don't accept me? What if whatever? And I realized those were just fears. And for me, what I started doing from a young time in my business was starting to see anxiety and fears not as the enemy, but as almost like having your wing person with you that's guiding you and saying, be careful. You are out of your comfort zone, so accept where you are. Now, let's see, how do we proceed? And in the beginning, it was very difficult because obviously also I am emotional. So I take things personally, but making that change, that shift from change is not the enemy. It creates the anxiety. Anxiety is not the enemy. It creates fears. Fears are not the enemy. They are really just your wing people saying to you, okay, maybe it's time to calm down.
Yeah.
Maybe you are trying to do too much too fast too soon. And that's why you're not reaching your goals. Let's relook at goals. Maybe it's saying that, you know what? You've outgrown this phase in your life. And it's time to refresh, rebrand.
Yeah.
So once I understood that these fears, these anxiety, these changes they're going to be along my journey. It is a roller coaster, but when it comes, go and see it as, okay, thanks for the warning. Now let me see what I can do. Do I reach out to somebody? Do I slow down? Do I learn something new? And yes, that in itself is just okay, all right, I know where I am. But does it make it easier? Not necessarily, because you still got to do the work to work through it. And through the years, I've realized I think a lot of people like to use, like you say, no more excuses. But I do believe people use change as an excuse to buy time. Or maybe to use it as an ace up their sleeve. And I use aces up my sleeve. Yeah, ace. That's it. When people say, me, I'm not good at this. That to me is just, that's that pulling that ace up the sleeve to outsmart people and to take the focus off you, by not taking responsibility and accountability. So I think a lot of times it's just that people don't want to get out of their comfort zones. It's not that we don't like it. I think with a lot of changes, especially if I think back to 1996 and things you were talking about earlier on, with a lot of those changes came greatness. People were emerging and we were starting to get to know what diversity means to us and how we can collaborate. And I mean, look at you and me. We're collaborating and I'm loving it.
Wow. Yeah. So I love that. I love that. Just also say, if you use like excuses or that are like, well, I'm not good at this. Well, we just arrived, so I still have to learn this. Well, if you're not good at it, hire somebody. Outsource. Outsource. There's so many ways of still getting the job done, even if you have no idea of what you are doing. I love that. I love that. Coming back again, you found yourself getting divorced.
Yeah.
how long in marriage?
30.
13 years of knowing this
Yeah,
same person. Then
that's a long time.
that's a long time. Then you reach an agreement of you know what, I think we've outgrown each other. We still respect each other, but let's go separate ways. I believe your divorce was civil, right? Because I remember some of the courses that we were actually doing, he was recording some of those things. I was like,
Yes.
Carol, talk to me clearly, okay? Don't just come here and be like, well, I'm going through divorce. I'm going through divorce. Talk to me. Wow, wow, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how hard was that change for you?
Looking back, while I was in the marriage, and I just need to to add, yeah, I got married for the first time when I was 20 years old.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're talking about another divorce. I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah. People look at you and say, oh, because you're a coach, because you train, because you're an expert on certain things, your life has to be perfect. Well, no. Welcome to the club. We are all doing this for the first time.
Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to get out of the home. I was busy studying, and came along a guy 5 years older than me, awesome man, and wanted to marry me. And I was like 20 years old. I had to get permission. Anyway, long story short, as that was the first time I got married, and all for the wrong reasons. But if I was also going through what we call quarter life crisis. Tony Wachira from Kenya and I, that was the course we did when we first met you online. We actually did this training together on what quarter life crisis is and what it means. And it's really when you're in your 20 somethings or just before 20 or just early 30s, when you feel invisible, you have no idea where your life's going. All right. And I realized that I went through a quarter life crisis when I met my first husband. Wonderful guy. We also worked together. Amazingly, we started 2 small businesses together, sold it for a profit. But it was also in that time that I started HPD Consultants. And I really believe that he matured me also and played a huge part. And been along my path, my roller coaster to get me to where I had to be. And I don't regret it, learned a lot from him, but it was also very civil. All right. Then carried on with my business, and the marriage you're talking about is marriage number 2, when after a couple of years, I bumped into my first love that I had at school. Now tell me, isn't that just a love story? Isn't that just a fairy tale that you bump into this first love, you catch up, where have you been, etc., and you share these experiences, and it's almost like that spark is still there. And I thought, wow, this is it. Being a romantic, which has been a bit of my downfall, which is why I now also focus on building those relationships, because adulthood is hard, because I've been there. And you fall for all these right things and you think, thank you, universe. Finally, this is where I need to be.
I've arrived.
And another impulsive decision. And then realizing that, you know what? Being a first love back at school, after how many, like 20 years had passed, we just thought that we could just carry on from where we left off. And it was beautiful in the beginning because it was just like living in the moment until the gap, the 20-year gap became an issue. Started talking about the gap, which we were avoiding because it just was like, no, we just rekindled something. Let's not mess with this recipe, but we had to deal with it. And I realized that he was also just fighting some of his own demons, just like I was fighting some of my demons of, damn, what have I done? I should have known better. I should have known that you cannot just expect 20 years gap to disappear and think everything's going to be great and awesome. And I think that's why we carried on working together even after the divorce. Him being in the videography environment, doing the videos, and excellent with lighting and just getting things to look creative and good. But yes, that was part of the learning as well, is that you don't jump in impulsively before you've checked out every angle. And that plays a big role in what I coach people on, especially if they're in that similar situation, is that let's just back off. Let's see things from different angles. So yes, once again, I had to go through that roller coaster because now I can talk about a lot of things that the average person is battling with in their own relationships.
So talk about that roller coaster and actually getting married for the wrong reasons, right?
Yeah.
How often do you think people get married, start a business, go for a job, say yes more often to just trying to please somebody, but for a completely wrong decisions? People do things impulsively for wrong reasons. And how do you think that contributes to today's anxietiness in the environment? Because people are getting depressed
Absolutely.
every day. With the social media and what you see on social media is not what's on the ground most of the time. Yeah. So how often do you think people do that right now, and how dangerous is it?
Very, very dangerous. And I think it's when people become desperate for attention. Because if I think back, remember I told you I grew up in a very turbulent household where the love was not easily seen or felt or spoken about. So it's almost like we coexisted under one roof.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful for that because that's why I can talk about those things now as well. Once again, mom and dad and was just doing life for the first time as well.
Yeah.
So coming back to what you are asked is that I've realized that a lot of people become desperate for attention. That was definitely me. I mean, the first marriage was a guy, he's 5 years older, he's got the car, he's got the good job. I mean, really, that's the future. And he pays attention to me. It's like, I'm hanging on to this one. So yes, I saw it coming up there. The second one, I mean, really, first love.
Quick question. Did you see some signs at the beginning? Like something that'd be like, I don't think I'll work with this, or I don't think I'm going to like this.
Yes, but you know what? You see these signs and you think, okay, well, there's a bit of dominance there, so I don't know how I'm going to deal with that. But you don't want to deal with it, and that's the big issue that drives us to depression, that drives us to anxiety, is when we ignore the red flags. They are there, but we don't want to know that because somebody actually cares. And I'm finding that a lot with the people I'm working with lately is that, and it's not just women. In the past, it was a lot of women, but it's now anybody, any individual that I think growing up and have this mountain of self-limiting beliefs that they carry with themselves. And somebody comes along and just makes you feel good, makes you feel important. And sometimes I think that is what people fall for. Just that wow, this is awesome. And that's the dangerous part, is that you buy into this live happily ever after. You buy into this, you know what? I can see myself ending on the summit, just on
Yeah,
top of the world.
yeah,
And any little things that happen in between, it's almost like, they're not so, that's okay. I can deal with it. And it escalates until it gets to a point where we start talking about what we call the crap, the dwang. And as soon as that starts surfacing, it's like your whole world falls apart. It's like, no. So I experienced that. I didn't dig deeper. I didn't ask the right questions. I didn't want to know,
yeah,
what are those dwang, those bad areas. I didn't
yeah,
want to touch on those. And
yeah,
I'm finding that a lot of people are doing exactly that. Is that they're not asking the right questions. They are seeing somebody's attention as
yeah,
life-saving moment. And it's almost like you become a victim in the process when
yeah,
things don't go your
yeah,
way. You asked me how dangerous it is. It's very dangerous because of desperation. There's a lot of people out there that are lonely. They want
yeah,
a
yeah,
partner.
yeah,
They want to get the recognition in the workplace. They want
yeah,
to
yeah,
be recognized. And in our fast paced world, a lot of that attention and recognition is not happening. So
mm,
anybody that just shows a little bit of attention, it's almost like I got to hang on to this. And people get disappointed in the long run.
Imagine skyrocketing your business without breaking the bank. Sounds too good to be true? Get any of the BNC International's automation packages. This is your ticket to more clients and less stress. Our services cover everything from Facebook and Instagram ads to lead magnets, funnels, and basic automation. Plus, you get a one-on-one coaching session to tailor everything to your business needs. Choose from our 3 awesome packages. The basic package at just $499, the growth package at $997, and our premium package at $1,499. Each package is designed to optimize your ads and maximize your results. No more guessing games, just real measurable results. And the best part? We handle all the heavy lifting so you can focus on what you do best, running your business. Ready to transform your marketing? Click the link below and let's get started with BNC International's automation packages. Because your business deserves the best.
and also maybe um, they are trying to be whole, like finding the wholeness in other people, or finding comfort in other people. So
Yes.
is in business as well. Some other people, like, you could be in a wrong industry for the wrong reasons,
Yeah.
or trying to do things well. Right now it's now easier because they have you, and they have me, business
Yes.
coaches and people who can actually help them, but you can't really do it alone. When it comes to business, you can't really do it alone. And also, the other thing is, if one side is not balanced, trust me, if you are not happy at home, everything else you're gonna do is gonna be so difficult. It will, like,
Absolutely.
you always pull yourself back and all those other things. But jumping to other big changes in your life. 2020 happened. You are
Oh,
this dinosaur. You are used to
when it came to
in-person business.
technology,
Yeah, you are used to in-person business, event after event. Then 2020 come, but I'm still fascinated about how we just got up in the morning and the world was never been this. Like, you couldn't even go outside to just go and buy bread. Yet,
we had total lockdown.
yeah, uh, yet our businesses were people and person driven. Like, we're supposed to actually, like, it was in person. You couldn't do anything without going out there and do another thing. You needed people. 2020
Yeah.
come. Like, how did that change affect you? I know that that's how we actually met, and then Asati helping you in so many things. But how
Yes.
did that change really happen? Like, were you in denial at some point? And how
Yes.
bad it is that people normally tap into denial.
Good that you mentioned that. So I'll come back to that. But yes, COVID hit, and I sort of expected that when COVID hit, that I could just, switch lanes and go from what my favorite has always been is face to face, because I love the energy in a room. Thrive on the energy, and I can give so much energy. So I sort of just known that, just change lanes and use the same energy on this platform, on a screen. But do you know that I fought against that? It was one of those, I think that was the biggest change in my life. That, yes, remember I said I saw change and anxiety as wing people, saying, okay, calm down. All that's happening is there's a few tweaks that we need to do. Life is changing. And in fact, life just fast forwarded like 5 years.
Yeah.
And instead of me listening to those voices, which in the past I learned to depend upon to get through my anxiety and changes, but I found myself stuck. It was like a mental block. It was just, and I think, yes, the denial part was the biggest thing, that maybe I hadn't gone through as much of a change that was so close to home in the past. That, the denial carried on for 3 months. For 3 months, I didn't want to talk about this. I mean, people were talking about WebEx and Zoom, and I'm going, don't care. Don't care. This is all going to blow over and I'm going to be fine. And that was really the biggest struggle I had. But I also realized that I was my own worst enemy, thinking that I had to do things completely different.
Yeah.
3 months when I was ready to get past that denial and talk to you, reach
You were
out
3
to
months
you.
late. You were now 3 months late.
So I realized I had some catching up to do. So once I got over my own voices in my head that was telling me the wrong stuff. I mean, my wing people were telling me that you've been through this in different ways. You can do it. I would cancel that out and say, don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. So my own voices became voices of your life's over, go until I realized after 3 months, hold on, Carol, you can't carry on like this.
Yeah.
What's with you?
Yeah.
Get rid of these negative voices in your head, because you know what came back? Were years back when I started, like, oh, you're not going to make it, being the white woman and, all of that. What we spoke about suddenly surfaced as if it was real. And that's when I realized that those self-limiting beliefs are often the voices that we keep hearing in our head. So I had to get rid of those. And the next best thing was, which I really learned, was you cannot do it alone. And that's when I reached out, met you, and you changed me from this dinosaur, like old way of doing things, not knowing technology that much, which once again was a voice in my head. I actually love technology now because I see how it assists. It's part of the job. But there it was, I'm not a technical person. And the more I said it, the more I believed it, the more technical became the enemy.
Very difficult.
I realized, come on, Carol, remember, technical is not the enemy. Anxiety is not the enemy. Change is not the enemy. It is reminders. It's now time for a new phase in your life.
Yeah.
So reaching out to you, and you just propelled me forward with your guidance, with your coaching, being so patient with me and dealing with it in such a practical manner.
Yeah.
I just rebuilt my confidence. And that's where the saying comes from, where you and I were saying, from dinosaur to cheetah. I'm running with the cheetahs.
I
But
love that.
yes, it was
Yeah,
scary.
it was. I love that, and because a lot of people, they don't deal with the problem as it rises. They just put it aside and put it aside. But guess what? At first, it's not yet a problem. It's just a signal of, hey, I think you need to change. Because guess what?
Yeah, it's not
29,
the enemy.
no,
It's actually a wing person.
yeah, it is directing 2019, so I've been teaching online from 2016, 2017, but I really was not utilizing fully online. Then 2019, I was like, I think it's time I visit that tool that I have been seeing, that I've been trying to get. And then I jumped on and changed my entire business into being online. People were like, you are crazy. Oh, who's going to have the data bundles to watch that? You are this or that. I'm like, mm-mm-mm. If I'm having people who don't have data to actually watch my content and attend my Zoom, it means I am having wrong audience. So I must
Yeah.
go and find the right audience. They're like, oh, well, good luck with that. Little they know that 3 months to come, they'll all flock back to me again and say, oh, Munya, how are you doing this? How did you do that? How did you do that? Because I was now like, I don't know how many years ahead of them, but just a little trick in business and impress that check. Well, you know what? But they're like, oh, yeah, we don't do that. Well, we want to pay cash. I want you to send an invoice. I'm like, no, sorry. I don't send an invoice. I'm going to send you a link. You sign up. We're like, oh, we don't pay online. Online, it's a scam. I'm like, well, you know me. If you get scammed through my system, come to me. I'll refund you.
Yes.
And people, like, I literally refused to take people do invoicing, do whatever. I think you're one of the people. So, okay, Munya, can I invoice you with this? I'll be like, no, I don't take money in my bank account. No, sorry, I don't. Like what? So are you choosing to go through a system that's gonna charge you 3 or 4%? I know. Yeah, I know exactly what I'm doing. I am training my people that if you wanna deal with me, you have to go through this way. I don't do emails in this way. I don't do this. I just stand my ground and move forward. And guess what? As I to attract people who were understanding me, that was so important.
And I can actually vouch for that, is that your way of doing things, you were very proactive, were a couple of steps ahead of everybody else, going that route. But what I liked about what you also did, Mr. Dongo, is you were the coach that showed me, own your business, own your way of doing business. We're not meant to be cloned. And everybody follows the same thing. And you stood your ground. Being a young coach, I respected that, because I had to learn from you that I realized in the past maybe I was too lenient, trying to be too nice, trying to be the good cop, and that you had to actually go and have a look and say, what do you value? What do you stand for? And that is basically what you helped me get through, and say, just take your business, make it your own to the next level that is modern. And I'm here to guide you to do that. And that was where our relationship was really cemented. And I think the main thing that you also made me change my outlook on, it's not a competition. And you can't do something the way someone else does it. And that is also why a lot of people say, yeah, but coaches and they don't work for me. And I always say, and I learned that from you, is that you got to find the coach that can work for you, with you.
Yes.
Because I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I mean, for somebody who's more reserved and just likes the facts and doesn't want all the whole affidavit of the question, I'm going to irritate them. I'm not going to be their solution. And it's about finding your niche, finding who is that audience. Like you said, you had to relook at your audience. Who are the people that need me?
Yeah.
I think that was such a huge eye opener, because before COVID, before you and I crossed paths, I was doing it on my own. Yes, I had coaches and I had mentors and I went on seminars and I brushed up on my skills, but it was a lot easier.
Yeah.
It was just so much easier. I was really just, riding the wave. And when COVID hit, it was like, now I've got to really focus and dig deep. Who is my niche audience? And if I didn't learn that from you, and especially what you said now, where you said, well, this is the way I operate.
Yeah.
And I looked at that and I thought, wow, you stand in your ground.
Yeah.
And that gave me a lot of confidence also to relook at, where do I stand my ground? It's not a sausage machine where we just get, we're doing this for the money, baby, the more money. And it's not about competing about, I lost the 3 months in COVID and somebody else gained that. And now I've got catching up to do. You made me realize that start new, start fresh, and do it the way you want to do it. And that was when I first realized that, reaching out, talking to somebody, getting that help, getting that guidance is the best thing people can ever do. So even in their personal relationships, when adulthood is hard, don't go to your friends and ask them for advice, because guess what? They're going to tell you what you want to hear.
Yes.
That's what I learned from you, because you were tough. You were really tough on me at times. And sometimes I had some big words that I didn't voice directly to you, but I'm so glad I did it, because by venting and thinking, who is this youngster? Probably what people were saying about me.
Yeah.
Who's this youngster? And then realizing this youngster knows his thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm so grateful that actually had to learn this from the beginning, because, well, I know that I was built differently. I talk differently. I think differently. I have my own style of doing things. I've learned from different people. So I am my own me, and as I always say, there is no somebody for everybody, but there is somebody for somebody.
Yes.
You can, like Carol, as for me, I am okay remaining broke than compromise my values. I think you have seen me dropping people who are paying me a lot of money just because we were not speaking the same language. I'm sorry, I can't go where my energy is gonna be depleted. So in business and also in life, there are some other things that will force you to change. But one thing that, if you are to take something out of this podcast, is that everything else can change, but not your values. Because your values, you will have them. You can find another money at any time. Money comes, money goes.
We can make money.
You can only come once, and you can't go and come back. So why then have to live a life of suffer and have to compromise and all those other things? So just in a little bit, I know that we are running out of time. Just a little bit. Recently, you have rebranded, right?
Yeah.
You just rebranded.
Yes.
That's another change. That's another change. I know that before rebranding, well, people they might think that you asked to divorce. No, Carol found her love that I even attended the wedding. It was so beautiful. My goodness, it was so beautiful. She found another love. She got married, and I was like, my goodness, I was like, these kids, and she's like, Munya, I have to tell you something. I'm like, what? She's like, well, I got a boyfriend. I'm like, Carol, what are you? Charlie, come here, guys, come and listen to this. And everybody went to the computer and be like, Carol, what are you talking about? She's like, I got a boyfriend. Before we know it, she got engaged. Before I know it, I'm like, my goodness,
No.
this girl is moving like crazy. I don't know. How certain? How certain? So I'm actually gonna combine this question, right?
Yes.
Now, you moved very fast on your marriage, right? And coming also to you being diagnosed with cancer, and then jiggy jiggy. Yes, I'm gonna say jiggy jiggy because I can't find another way. Jiggy jiggy. You get the operations. You came up with this entire brand new brand. And yeah, well, I am combining this because
Yes.
I see some traits happening during the. I see some energy, like I see the Carol moving fast, like something else.
Yeah.
How certain were you in all these things? Because I believe at some point when time you're diagnosed with cancer, be like, oh, my life is over. I'm gonna die. This is over. This is what. But then you went through that, and then you're like, I'm not dead yet. I'm still alive.
Yeah.
I've given another chance. So let me utilize this chance. So how can you just explain to me that?
I know that that's a very important question because also based on my past history. I mean, first two marriages I did impulsively jump in and for some people they were thinking, but this is the third time and whoa, what's happening? So what happened is at the age of 53, I finally found my soulmate. So I had learned in the past what not to do. What
Yeah.
were the red flags? What were the things that I conveniently did not want to address? And the biggest thing was the difficult questions at the beginning of the relationship. You know, those where you sit down and you say, well, listen, this is this. And it comes back to what you were saying now again, Dongo, Mr. Dongo, is knowing your values, knowing what you stand for, knowing what you want for the first time. And I had that confidence, almost like a bit of a cheekiness, I think, because I thought, you know what? I've learned so much. I have earned the right to ask those questions and look for those red flags. Look for those potholes and ask things that will reveal certain things. Yeah, I met this wonderful, wonderful man. And from the very beginning, we asked each other difficult questions, challenging questions, you know, the elephant in the room questions.
Yeah.
And we got it out. We spoke about the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah.
I realized that I had nothing to prove to him. Where in the previous marriages, you know, you want the good side. You want them to like you, you know. So yeah. So in the beginning, that's why they call it the honeymoon phase, because you've only showed that side. And after that, it's like the roller coaster comes out and it's like, but I didn't know this about you and I didn't know that you react this way. Or you didn't say that you didn't like it when I talk too much or whatever the case is. This time, third time lucky was I had nothing to lose. And I recommend that to everybody because it comes back to what I was saying earlier. When you are desperate, you don't want to ask those questions, you avoid it. But the problem is they do surface. And when they do surface, you've already got this invested energy. And then it just goes, it becomes more challenging. Meeting this man, had nothing to lose. We actually bonded over business first. Him being an MD of a security kind of AI company and being this leader that people look up to. So I tapped into that part first. He just intrigued me about how he deals with people, his leadership style. And got talking and then got to know each other. And at any stage when anything popped up and I said, well, do you mind if we dig deeper? Ask more questions. I'd like to know how you reacted when that happened to you, And what was great is he was open, he was honest about his downfalls, his greatness. I was honest about my downfalls, totally honest, totally open. And we bonded because of that openness. And that is the reason why we realized this is the right thing to do. And up until today as well. Yes, we've gone through a lot of ups and downs, but we talk about it. We support each other. We don't keep it in. And it's really about when it's difficult or when you don't want to talk about something, those are the things you're going to push through and say, listen, I don't know how you're going to take this, but I need to talk about it and being open about it. That's what helped me also when last year I got the skin cancer scare, having this mark on my face for years and everybody's saying, oh, it looks like a beauty mark. And suddenly it changed into like, horrible melanoma. And I know I had to go in quickly and he was there to support me, to guide me. And yes, and also being hard on me when looked in the mirror after the op and I said, once again, my life is over, just like during COVID.
Yeah.
And he did the hard talking. He's the one that with his support, with his guidance, he was still the one that said, you are more than that scar. You are more than that skin cancer. And he was the one reminding me of the stuff I had overcome before. Why? Because he knew about it. We spoke about every bit of it. That's it. So meeting this wonderful man for all the right reasons and nothing to lose, going in it open-minded and being as open and honest. What don't you like? I don't like X, Y, Z. And it was confident speaking. So getting it out in the open, then being able to continue that and having that support. And then the rebranding came. And that's the third thing. And it's all about the support I have got, not just from my husband, not just from colleagues and people like yourself that's helped me through that, but it's from the people I work with that have suddenly seen me develop into this light for them. And at the age of 55 now, I'm like seeing that. I'm like, I love working with people. I've seen the evidence, but because I had this refreshed view of what I'm doing, standing up for myself, making those difficult conversations with clients, potential clients, not just working with everybody, but the people that need me, I suddenly realized that, you know what, Carol has changed again. I changed from a dinosaur to a cheetah, but now I'm running with the cheetahs, but I'm celebrating growth and lightness and fun and rebranded, changed the logo, freshed it. And even the stuff that I'm putting together, I'm developing is just so awesome. Amazing. It's fun for me to do it. And so that is just a new phase, 55, turning 56 and saying, you know what? I had to get rid of the old logo that represented building the business. The new logo represents how far we've come. In fact, my new logo has a mountain, a beautiful pink mountain. I love the color pink. It's just so fresh and joyful. And then it has an arrow under the mountain and out from under the mountain that is in blue. Blue meaning for me is always, it's fresh, it's peaceful, it's growth. All right. So even the logo, I realized had to tell the story of where I am right now. And where am I now? The mountain represents that mountain of anxiety, the mountain of fears, the mountain of all the things that have held people back and held myself back to this point. It's there. We can't just wish it away. All right. It's there. But my new role, my new focus is to be that arrow, to say to people, get out from under that mountain of anxiety and look at this new arrow pointing you, propelling you to something fresh, something different, something new, because we need to take everything we've learned and now take on the next journey.
Wow.
And that is to look at, we're only doing this for the first time, every one of us. But there's so much that we still got to learn. And we cannot learn if we're stuck under this mountain that keeps us stuck. And that's what I love with the entrepreneurs as well, is that a lot of them have taken that leap. They've worked for companies, or they're fresh out of school, and they take this leap of faith. But then they realize this mountain. And my job is to say, let's get out from under that mountain. All those fears, all the what ifs, all the doubts, all the voices in your head. Come on. No. Let's get out from under there and move towards the future that we all want. And we can design it. Just like I designed the new logo from just visualizing where I am at. I'm finally out from under that mountain, and I'm propelling, and I'm taking people with me. That's where I'm at.
Everybody is looking for that secret formula to boost their business. Guess what? We have it. Welcome to the Kickstart Coaching Program. Join the Kickstart Coaching Program now and unlock your business potential. Ready to make a change? Let's do this together. Sign up today at kickstartcoaching.com. Your future is waiting. Don't keep it waiting any longer.
Funny thing, before my birthday, so every year I normally look for a new theme of my new year. And I think you actually saw this a press release that I did for my birthday, where I was explaining the new future that I want and the new colors I actually want in my life. And guess what are those colors? It's pink and blue. And I was like, Carol, what are you saying? By the time you would, I'm like, what are you saying? Because you know, the energy is just one is because I was like, pink, it involves love, compassion, the promise of new beginning, nurturing relationship. That's what I want. And then blue, like trust, wisdom, tranquility, and all those other things. Are like, damn, this is so good. So, Carol, to kind of like wrap up this.
Yep.
With all these things that had happened, and all of the lessons you actually got with all these ups and downs, I believe that the most tipping point is the point where you were told you have cancer, you need to go through the surgery, and that surgery sometimes it succeeds, sometimes it doesn't succeed. Sometimes it actually triggered for cancer to actually spread everywhere. And then I believe maybe at some point we're like, oh my goodness, cancer is a death, it's actually a death sentence. I am gone, I am dying. But then you went through surgery, they do everything. Now you started healing. Now you are back again to be this beautiful Carol that I know. Did you think that you were given a second chance, and this rebranding, wasn't it part of that as well? Of like, I was given second chance and now I want to do this. So since you were given that second chance, what are you going to do and how are you going to actually change this world again?
So firstly, yes, a second chance and maybe a third or fourth or fifth chance. I mean, if I look back, it's like, whoa, the roller coaster is real, ups and downs. But This scare of the cancer was the worst for me. And yes, I wasn't well educated about cancer. I've heard people got it. I had a very dear friend that went through it. I used to take her to Santon to go and have her tests and things. And, I thought I knew what this was about, I thought I was educated and knowing what people go through. But when this happened to me, I realized I was not as educated. You talk about these things or you hear about these things and you hear people's stories. I had to go and re-look at what exactly is this?
Yeah.
How does it affect your life? So I think knowing about it, seeing people go through it, seeing how their lives changed through it, good, bad, and ugly, it wasn't happening to me.
Yeah.
So I had a different outlook on that. And now that it's happened to me and it's come close to home, it's something I like to talk about. I like to get people more educated on what it actually means and what people go through in different ways. Nobody's story is the same. And what I've learned through it, and the one thing that I did learn is that people will say, it's okay. You're going to be okay.
Yeah.
When I had the bad scar, people were saying, but remember, you're beautiful inside. And it's almost like these are the things that I was saying to other people, thinking that I'm being supportive. And what I learned was, Carol, there are certain things that you just don't mention. And I think that was my lack of education till it happened to me. And I realized how people, for the goodness of their heart, they mean well, but how they would often say the wrong thing, thinking they're being supportive. And how that also led to, some of those times where I had to vent. I mean, I had people coming up to me like weird things. I even had one lady, and I must share this with you because that was the weirdest. Is that she came to me and she said to me, why didn't you do the other side of the face? And I was like, first of all, I thought, what? Then I realized she thinks I paid to have this done, cosmetic surgery. So my cheeky and my survival was, I ran out of money. I'm doing it next year. And she goes, poor you. And I was like, me? And I actually got to a stage where people were talking slowly. When they saw, because it was really ugly. I mean, it's really, I had a great surgeon, but it was really ugly. And people were weird. I had people that started talking slower as if they'd operated on my brain. And I think that's what I want to say is that when you know of something and you know of what people are going through, but you haven't experienced it yourself, we can make so many mistakes. And it's not because you mean bad, you just mean well. Or we're not equipped to know what to say. So we say the things, don't worry, tomorrow will be better. Oh, don't worry, you're beautiful inside. That's what counts. That's not what I want to hear. I have to face people for my living.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? A lot of people have gone through what you've gone through and they've survived. I don't want to know about other people. So yes, it made me angry, but then it also made me realize that, we maybe not all equipped to deal with it when somebody's going through. So it's made me a lot more sensitive in terms of what support looks like when people are going through challenges, not just cancer, but any kind of things. It's almost like what people want to hear is something that they can turn around and say, you get me. You get me. Even if it means you are straightforward, but you're doing it with the right intention. You're not trying to be nice to sugarcoat this elephant in the room. Once again, it comes back to dealing with those difficult conversations. And not delaying it because it just gets bigger and bigger. So it's made me a lot more sensitive. It's educated me a lot about cancer and how quick it can happen. And yes, it created a scare, but it's also made me realize that I've come to terms with doing this life for the first time. And whatever obstacles, roller coaster lies ahead, I think I'm at a stage where I'm strong enough to deal with those. And also, last thing I want to say is, like with the cancer, I have turned that whole experience into what I call scars are hope. And I do a signature talk on that. And especially this year in Women's Month in August in South Africa, we were talking about scars are hope. They show that you have gone through something. You are stronger for it. So every time I look at my scar, even this afternoon, getting ready for this interview, just trying to put a little bit of dabbing base on, I see it. I feel it. It's there. But as I sort of just dab some of my base and my powder, I just go, you know what? You are proof that I've dealt with something much stronger than I could ever have thought. So, yeah, I hope that I inspire people by not making the mistakes that I did, and not getting to the age of 53 to find a soulmate, and not getting to the age of 55 and rebranding all for the right reasons. So I hope that I can help younger entrepreneurs and people that can relate to my story or stories. That's why I do what I do. I'm hoping I can help people just cut through all the noise and get to the success part and the confidence and the strength part quicker than what I did.
Carol, you know what? You summed it so well. And to just summarize it as well, like your entire journey, I can just think of one phrase that Tony Robbins always talk about. He said, life does not happen to us, life happens for us. Life happened for us. Look at how many lessons that we are drawing right now from your story, from all those ups, downs, the he, the ha, the whatever. I'm so grateful to call you my friend. I'm so grateful that we actually met. I'm so excited that you have this entire life to actually help other people. And listeners, I believe today you got some great nuggets you can really, really use to take your life to the next level, to move from anxiety into clarity, to start to take that change and embrace it and enjoy it. Well, it is not it's not nice to go through change, but I think you should learn to be comfortable in your uncomfortability and just enjoy, because if you try to resist it, then you're not gonna find the lessons out of that, and it will make your life a living hell. Carol, thank you so much for making time to be here. I know that you need to run, but thank you so much for making time to be here. And I'm so grateful. Please, if you really, really loved this conversation, please don't forget to actually check in the show notes, because I have dropped some links that you can actually go to Carol's website and follow her, because she is sharing a lot of stuff, and connect with her. Ask her,
Yes, please.
DM her, ask her a question, see what she can do and also offer you, because life, we are all going through life for the first time, but we can only be there for each other, just like how Mr. Cook was there for Carol during her difficult time, just like as well how I was there for her as well during the COVID time, just like she's been there for so many more other people as well. So I'm so grateful. Carol, thank you so much, my dear.
It's a pleasure. And yes, you are one of my people. I don't have one person, I have people. But yes, thank you for the role you've played in my life, and just keep doing what you're doing, because You might be younger than me and you might be smaller than me, but I have a lot of respect for you. And you've really, a lot of my mindset changes has been because of you. So just to let you know, within the next 3 weeks or so, my book that includes a lot more. Just drop a hint there. I also had 5 miscarriages during the 2 divorces, so that also propelled it into the wrong direction, but lots more. You will not believe that my life was like a soapy on steroids. So look out for my book. Mr. Dongo, thank you. I always love talking to you, and now you know why I cannot do things in a nutshell. So people who want to work with me, we don't do things in a nutshell. We explore. Thank you so much, and good luck with what you are doing and being there for everybody, including myself. You and your
I love that. And well, that book, it's been, my goodness, something that we've
It's
been
been
working
good
for.
for
We've been working with for all right. Well, you understand that in the next few coming weeks. You understand that in the next few coming weeks. But she's dropping a bomb. She's been pregnant for the past 5, 6, 7 years.
on
And
that.
yeah, well, she said that she miscarried 5 times, but this one, well, she almost miscarried so many times, and she's been in intensive care for a long time. And right now, the
You
baby is
are so
finally
right.
coming.
You are so right. And I think it's got to do with this renewed outlook on life. And suddenly it was coming together. And yes, I know you have been on me.
Yeah,
It is about 6 years. I don't know. I've lost count. New refound energy, new refreshed everything, including the book. So
I
thank you,
love
Mr.
that.
Dongo. It's always a privilege talking to you and being on your podcast.
Thank you so much. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Remember to comment, like, and share. Invite other people so that they can always come and learn. Remember, this is the place where we have these conversations that are really humane and that you can connect. Remember, it's an inspire to inspire. And I am here to also remind you that your story is yet to be told, and you were put on this earth to be inspired by everything else that surrounds you so that you can go and be an inspiration to somebody else. And I am here to help you to do that. Thank you so much for joining me. Remember to subscribe, like, share, and always also, if you haven't, download my free mobile app and actually get an amazing course that is there. It's going to be amazing course. So download this mobile app. Thank you so much. Love you a lot. Take care. God bless, and remember to be inspired to inspire. Bye-bye.
Mr. M. Dongo.
Mr. Dongo.
Wonderful time working with Mr. G.
Dongo, and he is a 10x person.
I love your energy.
He just go like boom, 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 boom. It's amazing.
I always love the way this man carries himself with dignity and respect. Whenever I see him, he's dressed for success. And I love your energy. I love the way you have applied the mind power in your own life.